Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show, and today I have an action classic for you. A movie that, honestly, I personally think is the most underrated comic book film of all time. You heard me. It is Dredd. I love Dredd. Karl Urban is amazing. Karl Urban is probably one of my favorite actors ever because he's the king of the genres. I call him king of the genres because he's literally been in everything. He's been in Star Trek, he's been in Lord of the Rings, he's been in the MCU, he was in Dredd, he's in The Boys right now, he was in another sci-fi show not that long time ago when he was like a cop. He has been in, he was even in Riddick. Karl Urban is he's a genre dude, and I love that about Karl Urban. He's such a genre dude. I love the fact that he's in all of these, just so many different, if he could get in a genre, he's in it. It's only a matter of time before he pops up in Star Wars, that's that'll, complete his, only thing he needs to be in now is something in DC and something in Star Wars, and he will just be, the king right now. That's it. He might have already been in something in DC, and I just don't know, but, like I say, all he needs to do is be in something in DC and Star Wars, and it's done. It's over. Karl Urban is the man. But Karl Urban, the Dredd character came out a while ago. Great character, interesting. It was kind of like an even more extreme version of the Punisher. And the character itself is, it's like this man who is just so consumed with the law that while he might be the hero, he might be obsessive. He might be a little crazy, But, in the comics, he's completely obsessive with the law. But I digress. Karl Urban committed in this role. First of all, he wore the helmet the entire movie. He did not remove it. All you saw was jaw. This man did acting with his jaw. That's it. That's all you got. You didn't get any eyes, nothing. Just voice and jaw. But, man, he was... I am the law. Oh, man. I love Dredd. But, man, yeah, this movie was action-packed. First of all, this movie is one of the best uses of two things. Two things that have been overly used, and two things that have kind of gone out of favor with most people. But I would dare argue that this might be the best usage of these two things in any movie ever. 3D and slow motion. First of all, the 3D in Dredd is insane because the way it's used, the sweat pores and stuff, the way it's used, because since the whole movies around this drug called slow-mo, and when you take slow-mo, it kind of gets all crystally and slow motion, but that lends itself to this spectacular, heady, weird CGI. The CGI in Dredd is, not CGI, the 3D in Dredd is insane. It's so cool. The blood splatter, you can see the blood splatters all over you. You can see it is so good. The CGI in Dredd is top-notch stuff. But their use of slow motion as an actual thing in the movie and as a cool thing to do, to get these slow motion shots in, it's just cool as hell, dude. The way it's shot, the way it looks, sure, does it take a little bit from the Raid with the whole them having to climb this fucking city, climb this basically this big ass apartment complex to the top to get to the Kingpin, known as Mama. Yeah, it does have a bit of that going on with it, but the story is, at least this version of the story is, that Dredd is the baddest of the bad, and there's Mega City 1. And in this world, this is your world where we don't really know what happened. I don't think they talk about it, but something happened where radiation fucked the world, and everyone had to huddle up in mega cities. This is Mega City. I think the city he's in is Mega City 1, I believe, and clearly it hints that there are other mega cities. But we never get there because the movie never got a sequel. Sad, tears. Fucking deserve a sequel. But I'll get back to that later. We never get to see those other cities, but we know what city he's in is big. And it's just packed up like sardines. Everyone's it's just packed together, It's like living, it's like the projects, except everywhere. What if your entire, and it's not like you can just leave, unless you're rich. You can't just leave. It's you just packed together like sardines. to the point where like where the common folk live are even all these apartment complexes that are just packed together like sardines as well. They're just all packed on top of each other. And Dredd's the baddest of the bad. Like, basically, law is so hard to fucking just, like, it's hard to enforce laws. It's hard to enforce anything in these megacities. So they created the judges. These people, they're judge, juries, and executioners. They get to dictate the pace. They get to go out and they're the baddest of the bad. And Dredd is the baddest of the baddest of the bad. I mean, this dude's such a badass that other fucking judges are like, yo, it's fucking Dredd. It's because he's so intense. I get the feeling that the reason he's so intense is because he lost his family in a very horrible way, and now he's just committed to the law. That's why I say he's like he's pretty much like he's a lot like the Punisher, because the same way the Punisher is so obsessed with killing criminals, Dredd's the same way. Except he's obsessed with the law. He's obsessed with it, and not like he doesn't seem like he's that bad. Like, because, you know, there's certain versions of the Punisher, they'll shoot a motherfucker for just jaywalking. He don't seem that bad, but he's pretty bad. And anyways, he has to take this young rookie under his wing, which you've seen that in many cop movies, but this rookie has, like, special abilities, and, like, they think that she has abilities not seen before. Like, she's a psychic, but she doesn't have any, she has, like, because it turns out certain people have mutant abilities in this world, but most of the people with mutant abilities are, well, mutated, except for her. For some reason, she has these powerful abilities, but she isn't mutated. And they think that, oh, this is interesting. Maybe this is like the evolution, you know, maybe she's something that we can be used in the field. So of course they put her with Dredd, which makes sense. Put her with the best person, you know, and hopefully she makes it back home and he's supposed to grade her. And a routine, you know, checkup, routine murder case, they're just coming to look at a murder case, goes to shit. Next thing you know, they get trapped in this apartment complex with this superhead crime boss, and the only way they can survive is to make it to the top and kill this crime boss, and they have to kill waves of enemies and figure out what the hell's going on. And that's the basic gist of the movie, but the action is great. All the characters in it are just, it's a grimy world. It's so sad, because the world that they made, in the comic books, in this world in particular, just seems so interesting and full of life. And, you know, if it was dying to be a franchise. Like, Dredd should be like John Wick. Really, Dredd and John Wick should have been in that same category together. But Dredd was too ahead of its time. At the time when Dredd came out, the comic book genre was just getting shook, whatever, by the MCU. They were starting to go away from the dark stuff. People weren't starting to not make rated R comic book stuff. Not to mention, it might be the worst marketed movie in the history of films. Ain't that crazy? I call it the best comic book movie, the most underrated comic book movie ever, and it might just be the worst marketed film I've ever seen. I didn't even know about this movie. I didn't know about this movie till like a year after that came out, and I had seen it on TV. Like, you know, it was on Netflix, and I saw it, and I was like, holy shit, this movie's great. And they're making a sequel? No, it bombed. But Dredd, to me, is the epitome of the action genre. I think this is one of the greatest action movies of all time. Bloody. It's appropriately bloody. It's appropriately over the top. Karl Urban is so awesome in this role. He commits to it. One of the best use of slow motion. One of the best 3D use of 3D. This movie to me is the epitome of cool, of awesome. I love Dredd. I think more people should go see Dredd. I have it on DVD and Blu-ray. I love that movie. Anyways, I give Dredd a 10 out of 10. First action classic, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 for. I couldn't get enough of this movie. I absolutely love Dredd. I think Dredd is so underrated. I think more people need to talk about it. More people should see it. It should have spun a franchise. It should have, but it did not. And hopefully it can at least get the... I was talking about an animation thing. I think Dredd should be a video game series. I think it would make an amazing video game series. Ugh. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please leave a like, subscribe. And have you seen Dredd? Karl Urban's Dredd. Have you seen it? If you haven't, do yourself a favor. If you're a comic book fan, or you're a fan of the hardcore stuff, watch Dredd. See? I'm not against R-rated stuff. if it fits. I don't, if it makes sense. Anyways, thank you guys for the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.